I'll watch one VSAUCE, and then we go do some fucking Dark Souls shit. Is Earth flat? Is Earth flat?
Hey, VSAUCE. Michael here.
I'll watch this one.
In 2003, researchers did the measurements and found that Kansas is, in fact, literally flatter than a pancake. Of course, the Earth is not flat, the Earth is round. Otherwise, travelers would be falling off the edge all the time. Right?
No.
Wrong.
Earth is flat.
But as you moved toward the edge, gravity on a disk Earth would slightly skew, pushing at a greater and greater angle back toward the center. My friend Nick from Yeti Dynamics put together this great simulation. The person and buildings obviously aren't to scale, but check out how such increasingly diagonal gravity would work. Although this is a flat disk, it would feel to a runner headed toward the edge like they were fighting to climb up a steeper and steeper hill.
Gravity's a myth, that's the whole point.
The foundations behind the runner reflect how you would have to build structures closer and closer to the edge so that people living in them always felt like down was at right angles to the floor, the way we feel it on our big round Earth. Now,
that's just crazy though. Holy shit, I didn't even know that.
Things would get scary. Remember,
holy shit!
This is a flat Earth, but it would feel like
is it going to become like a whole thing like this?
Really
you can't even do this.
Is that contrary to the don't fall off the edge fear,
you would just fucking slide. You would actually slide.
Would actually be falling away from the edge and rolling all the way back to the center. Once you stepped over the edge, instead of falling off into space, you'd be able to relax. It would be a nice, level place. This model, of course, neglects the fact that such a planet shape would be impossible. Anything as massive as the Earth, shaped like a flat disk, would, under its own gravity,
of course not believe in fucking flat Earth, you absolute newbies.
Back into a ball. This is why in outer space, everything more than a few hundred miles in diameter is round. Or so we've been told. What if gravity isn't real? What if the Earth is in fact flat and science has been wrong all along? It's a misconception that Christopher Columbus discovered that the Earth
Christophe Colomb. Actual noob. Christopher Columbus? Who the fuck is Christopher Columbus? It's Christophe Colomb.
Misconception that Christopher Columbus discovered that the
What
Earth
a joke,
is
dude.
round. Well, the Earth is pretty darn curvy. The Verrazano Narrows Bridge, connecting Staten Island and Brooklyn, had to be designed with Earth's roundness in mind. Its two towers, separated by 1,300 meters and perfectly vertical, are nonetheless 41 millimeters further apart at the top than at the bottom because of Earth's curvature. In the 3rd century BC, Eratosthenes measured the differences between shadows.
They had to put science, dude. They had to fucking use curvature, dude, in fucking science to build a fucking bridge. It's crazy.
But in 1906, Wilbur Glenn Villava became head of a slightly bizarre religious sect that pretty much ran the city of Zion, Illinois. Villava believed that the Earth was actually flat, and he enforced flat Earth teachings in schools in Zion.
What an idiot.
He also enforced that belief on really anyone who entered the city. Villava believed not only that the Earth was flat, but that the sun was only a few thousand miles away from Earth.
So where would it fall?
Not 93 million. He also believed that the sun was only 32 miles across, not 860,000. Modern-day flat earthers have picked up where Villava left off. They have quite good explanations for any evidence you throw at them.
It's all fake, boys.
Is round. Circumnavigation is really just a flat circle path. The round shadow
what the fuck am I watching?
on the moon during a lunar eclipse could also be made by a flat disk. Time zones are caused by a spotlight sun. And remember how gravity would be totally different on a disc-shaped planet? Well, they argue that gravity as we know it simply doesn't exist. The flat disk of Earth is merely accelerating up at 9.8 meters per second. As for all of the photos and video evidence we now have that the Earth is round thanks to space exploration, well, all of that material is completely fabricated, a hoax perpetrated by Big Globe. Space agencies, airlines, globe manufacturers, they are reaping the rewards of our ignorant belief that the Earth is actually round.
Your huge host, was it?
Of course, that it's flat, and they're hiding that truth from us? Is it merely a coincidence that the
A huge host, my dude. Thanks for the host, link my dude. Thanks for
The logo used by the Flat Earth
for the
Society
juice, man.
is a projection of Earth centered on the North Pole, and also happens to be the projection used by the United Nations?
Yeah, so somebody told me to watch everyone was spamming VSAUCE videos, so I'm watching a VSAUCE video for the first time.
Are these people for real? Probably not most of them, but this is the crux of Poe's law. An adage that states that at their extremes, parody of extremism and sincere extremism are difficult to distinguish. Although clever, flat Earth theories are predominantly ad hoc explanations, excuses made up on the spot that only address one issue and don't fit all the evidence. Science, of course, rejects a theory if a better one fits more of our observations, but why the egotistical—
Things are creepy? Wait, what? There's a good series with creepy shit? Playlists? Yeah.
VSAUCE. Michael here. Fear
I'll watch this one, that's it.
gives us life. Being afraid of the right things kept our ancestors alive. It makes sense to be afraid of poisonous insects or hungry tigers. But what about fear when there is no clear and obvious danger?
Mental
For
illness.
instance, a teddy bear with a full set of human teeth. Or a smile.jpg. There's something a little off about these.
What the fuck
too
is
much
this?
mystery and strangeness, but no obvious threat the way there is with a gun or a falling rock, but yet they still incite fear because they are creepy. But why? What gives us the creeps? What causes something to be creepy?
When they don't fit
We are
together?
now in my bedroom, the bedroom I grew up in Kansas. Like a lot of children my age, I
Kansas,
was
oh my God.
terrified of scary stories to tell in the dark. But the very first book that ever scared me was The Curse of the Squirrel. To this day, I still haven't finished the book, but that's just me. Psychologist James Geer developed the Fear Survey Schedule 2, which he used to find out what scared us the most. Combined with the results of a more recent Gallup poll, these are the things that scare most of us the most. All of these things are scary, but are they creepy?
Being alone.
Let's
I love
get
being
more
alone.
specific. I love the way Stephen King
Yeah, just a little bit,
delineates
actually.
3 types of scary stuff. The first is the gross out. This is something disgusting, morbid, diseased. The second is horror. Horror to King is the unnatural, a giant spider, or being grabbed in the dark when you thought you were alone. The third, terror, is different, creepier. He says terror is coming home to find that everything that you own has been replaced with an exact copy. Terror is feeling something behind you, its breath on your neck, knowing that you will be grabbed, but then turning around to find that there was never anything there in the first place. Not a lot of research has been done on that feeling, the creeps, but many theories and ideas involve vagueness, ambiguity. For instance, masks and why
Holy
clowns
shit.
are creepy. Claude Lévi-Strauss wrote that the facial disguise
What the
temporarily
fuck is
eliminates
this?
from social intercourse the part of the body which reveals personal feelings and attitudes. Part of the reason even a neutral or happy mask can be creepy may have to do with ambiguity. A mask hides the true emotions and intentions of the person underneath. I don't know if the person wearing that mask is a threat or not.
True.
Vagueness
True.
is creepy when it comes to the human form. This is the famous uncanny valley. On a chart of humanness, there's a zone where something can be almost entirely human, but off by just a little. Not so wrong that it's
What the
clearly
fuck is
fake
this?
or funny, or so good that it's indistinguishable. Instead, it's just troubling. The creepiness of the uncanny valley is wonderfully demonstrated by John Bergeron's Singing Androids. Watch these videos when you're alone. A similar uneasy feeling comes from Shay St. John, a character created by Eric Fournier, funny to some, nightmare fuel to others. Uncanny humanoids, like all creepy things, straddle a line between two regions that we can understand and explain with language. Francis T. McAndrew and Sarah Kohnke describe being creeped out as an adaptive human response to the ambiguity of threats from others. Creepy things are kind of a threat, maybe, but they're also kind of not. So our brains don't know what to do. Some parts respond with fear, while other parts don't, and they don't know why. So instead of achieving a typical fear response, horror, we simply feel uneasy, terror, creeped out. Between the mountains of safety and danger, there is a valley of creepiness, where the limits of our knowledge and trust and security aren't very clear. Will looking at this cause you to die 1 week later? Impossible, right? Maybe. That's the terror of ambiguity. We don't do well with ambiguity. When it involves our own intentions, it can make us lie. And when it involves danger, but no recognizable threat, it can make us think and feel some pretty weird things. Have you ever peered over a ledge, a railing, way high up, like so high up it made you nervous
all the time,
and dizzy, and felt something pushing you? Maybe even an urge to jump. Have you ever stood on a ledge with a loved one and realized that
push
you could
push them off?
Push them?
Yeah, of course.
It would be that easy. You really could do it. And maybe you do want to do it, or maybe it's just cognitive dissonance. The fact that your brain is having to deal with ambiguity. A recent study by Jennifer Hames at Florida State University dubbed this the high place phenomenon. When approaching a ledge and a dangerous drop, your survival instinct kicks in and you pull yourself away. But your balance and motor systems don't get it. Nothing is pushing you, and you don't normally fall or leap randomly. So what's going on? The part of your brain that processes intention might resolve this by determining that something must be pushing you, or that you might actually want to jump or push your friend, even if none of that is true. Now, we're not done with ambiguity yet, because our language reflects the gray area of terror and creepiness. Take a look at the word terror itself. We have horrible and horrific, terrible and terrific. Why is that? Well, through history, we never really figured out what to call powerful experiences, because they're both. They are full of awe, awesome, and they are full of awe, awful. We need them to survive. We need fears and the creeps to understand our size, our weaknesses. But on the other hand, avoiding them is pretty great too. The creeps is a physical reminder that the world is vague and full of ambiguity, but that we are cunning, always trying to figure things out, but nonetheless fragile. Is that terrible or terrific? Well, it's both, which, as a creepy ghost would say, is kind of boo-tiful.
Jesus Christ.
And as always, thanks for watching.
Dude. Okay, listen. That was so true, though. Why? I didn't get it. That's really good though. That made me think.
Whenever
I went to a place that had like a huge ledge, right? And I just wanted to fucking jump off that shit, right? And then someone was next to me, and I just want to push him. I was trying to push him off the edge. You know? It's like that feeling of, it's like holy shit, dude. You know?
And dizzy, and felt something pushing you. Maybe even an urge to jump. Have you ever stood on a ledge with a loved one and realized that you
casually explained? Yeah, exactly. Feeling having the power. Yeah, the power. Yeah.
Could push them.
Such a small thing.
It would be that easy.
You know?
You really could do it. And maybe you do want to do it, or maybe it's just cognitive dissonance.
Okay. New series? What should we do? Casually explained. Okay, listen. I'm just gonna try it for next streams, but we're not gonna. What the fuck is this?